Yo, so it is pack a lunch, right? Now, during this fight card, only 3 fights went the distance. Am I right? I feel I'm right. Let's just double check. Yeah, 3 fights. No, 4 fights went the distance, but one was the co-main, right? Not bad, right? Not a bad night. So let us take a look and see what happened. Now, the first fight to go all 15 was the full fight of the night, right? It was the women's flyweights. So that was Lauren Murphy against Eduardo Mora. And man, like this fight, it is kind of how you imagined it was going to go, right? Lauren Murphy is tough. There's never been a doubt of that, right? She's been in there with some of the best fighters, you know? And there's been times when she clearly was not going to win, but always came, right? Always brought it. And she's got some big wins, right? Beat Misha Tate back in the day, you know? I say back in the day, a few years back, right? But, you know, we haven't seen her for a minute, right? Hadn't seen her for a minute. And this was her retirement fight, you know? So it's one of them ones, right? And I think some people say it, when someone lets everyone know they're retiring, they're pretty much done, right? That last fight, it's not going to be the same because they know what's happening next, right? There isn't that same thing to fight for. And in this, it wasn't a fact that Lauren, you know, was 1 foot out. It was just Mora was crisper and faster. You know, her hands were sharp. Hands were sharp, right? Now, for Lauren to win, she needed a takedown. She got a takedown in the first round, but Mora's smart, right? And she used Murphy's momentum. Used the momentum to roll all the way through and get back up. You know, and then after that, she was just getting, the takedown attempts were just being stopped. And Mora was answering with combos, with the jab, with the knees, leg kicks, attacking the body. She was just putting it together well. You know, there were definitely times when you thought, I think if Mora kind of put it together a little bit more, right, she might be able to push for that finish, to get into a better situation where she could, because Murphy ain't gonna give up, right? But if you've got her, you know, on her back and you're just dropping elbow, it's getting stopped, right? And you just think there was times when she maybe could have been a bit more advantageous, right? But all in all, Mora put on a decent show. She put on a decent show against a tough opposition, you know, and even she got taken down in the third round. And Murphy went for the gilly, right? She did a Poirier, went for the guillotine, and you know, it was tight. It was definitely tight, but Mora didn't lose her head, escaped it, got up, and then went back to what she was doing well. So, you know what I mean? Like, she's able to keep herself calm in bad situations. So, yeah, this was a decent showing for Eduardo Mora to get that win. So, next up, we had Max Griffin against Chris Curtis. So this was Curtis moving down to welterweight. And I completely missed that. right? When I was breaking this down, I thought Curtis would win, but I didn't even clock. Oh yeah, he's moved down in weight, right? I hadn't even clocked it. I think because Curtis was never a big middleweight, right? Never a big middleweight. And even at welterweight, Griffin was bigger, you know? But I think what we did see here was Curtis fast, good hands when he was throwing them, right? It was that same curse that we have from Curtis. And, we've seen it with Griffin as well. They can be mad tentative, right? And that's what happened here. Real tentative at the start. Not a lot was getting thrown. Max was pushing forward, but Curtis has got good defense, good movement, so he was just avoiding most of the things coming forward at him. He's throwing some leg kicks and this, but essentially not a lot. Right now, the second round, we do see more happen. Right, we see more happen, and Curtis, he's putting more together. He's putting some combos up, and just doing his thing. And you're like, okay, right? This is a lot better, and we're seeing that there is potential for Curtis in the welterweight division because he's doing more, he's throwing more. He still could throw more. Right, he was throwing more compared to the first round. It's still, you're just still like, Chris, come on. You know what the deal is. And his corner is imploring him to throw more in between rounds. Right, that third round, we got Griffin coming forward. Oh, yes, and Curtis did drop Griffin in the second, right? Only briefly, but yeah, you know what I mean? That is one of the bigger punches that got thrown, right? One of the bigger things to get done. In the third round, Griffin, his corner was telling him, you need to do your thing here, right? And he was pushing forward, right? But and then, Curtis woke back up and got back into the fight and was putting things together well. And then towards the end, we just died off again, right? They went a little bit lethargic, and then, no one is really committing, even though you're like, look, if you put a big push at the end, that can cement the round, and neither were really doing it, right? When you break it all down, when you look at it all, Chris Curtis did deserve the win, but, and I know his corner is going to be telling him, next time out, you gotta throw more, right? You gotta commit a bit more, right? Now, there could be all manner of things. Maybe he was coming in with a slight injury, who knows? Right, just a bit tentative about the new weight class, worried like, am I gonna get, like, how's things gonna be? So there's different things that could contribute towards the performance, right? But it's one of those things that we have seen with Curtis, that there are times when he doesn't throw quite enough. This was nearly one of them, but in the end, he gets the win. So our last fight of the section, man, it was our featured bout of the night, right? It was Calvin Kattar against Steve Garcia in the featherweight division. And man, like, it wasn't quite the fight. Well, it wasn't anywhere near the fight you were thinking it might be. But it did show how good Garcia is. It just showed, man, he's that good. Right now, he wasn't able to get the finish. He did drop Kattar in the second round, I believe it was. Right? It was a flash knockdown. Well, I mean, He wasn't really a flash knockdown. Cater was for sure hurt, right? He hurt Cater, but Cater was able to get up and then get the clinch, right? But Steve Garcia, boy, he was putting it together really, really well, right? Throwing, combinations, right? He had quick hands, and he was kicking the leg. He was doing everything right, and dominating the fight. Right, this was the thing for Cater. Now, Cater is tough. There is no denying it. No one is going to say Cater gave up on himself. He did not. It's just like Garcia had the speed advantage. I mean, he looked big. Garcia looked big, people. But he's just putting it all together really well. What I didn't realize Cater had made the move to TriStar as well. Right now, Font went, right? And here's the thing, Font, you could definitely see that there was a big difference in, what Font was doing once he got there, right? He was looking really freaking good. Right, he definitely had changed his style, right? So it's one of them ones, because you sometimes think, man, people, like, when you're so far into your career, there ain't no, being able to really change what you do. We're not going to see this huge shift in your style or anything like that. But as I said, I feel Rob Font has done that. I do believe he has done that. So, to say Cater can't really, maybe he can. Right, but maybe it's just he needs to be there for a little bit longer for everything to kind of cement itself. But yeah, this night it was just Garcia, right? It was just Garcia, because Cater just wasn't able to step to that next gear, to be able to challenge Garcia in all departments. Because he, as I said, he was quicker. He's putting those combinations together. Now, like, as they were saying, he was ducking a lot. And he was ducking a lot, right? He needs to change that, But, yeah. Calvin Cater, it just wasn't his night. And he's had fights that you'd just be like, like, the Emmett fight, he won the Emmett fight, I feel. So there have been those ones that didn't quite go his way. But this wasn't it, right? This wasn't it. And you probably want to go the last fight against Zalal. It was a bit similar. He's getting older. I don't think he's got many. I mean, this is his sixth loss in a row. So, he ain't getting more chances, right? Could he get cut after this? Yes. I feel they might give him one more, and he needs to be able to show something, right? Because it's not just about being tough, right? It's not being tough and taking a lot of damage, because that's not going to serve you well in retirement, right? So there's a point when you got to call it, right? You got to call it. Now, Calvin Cater is a great fighter, but it might be coming to the close for him. Now, on the flip side, Steve Garcia, woo, he's definitely looking like, there's a few possibilities for him. Right? Now, he does have to sharpen things up. He can't be darking all the time, right? Just making those, I can't think of the word, right? Predictable moves, right? He can't be doing that because someone's going to start making those reads and then they're going to be able to land a big shot. So he needs to sharpen those things up. But he's at a great camp, right? Jackson Wink, great people around him, and he is looking real good. So the sky is the limit for Steve Garcia. And that, people, is it all for Pack A